Welcome to the Kendall Report. I hate when that happens. I turn it off so you don't hear me rattling around and I don't get it. So welcome to Kendall Report. Remember to subscribe and like these videos. And just trying to get things going. I saw this market about to roll over. I was trying to get live so I could show you how our indicators work. And we were getting predictions of lower prices to come off of these patterns. So I'm going to show you that stuff. And everything should be fine now with the sound, so I apologize for that. But let's go ahead and take a look at I'll do a quick review of what's going on in the markets. Then I want to bring up the indicators. I'm going to build out from scratch how they go on and what they do and all that kind of stuff. And while we're doing that, we'll be able to watch the markets together. Don't have a long time, probably about an hour, so I'll hang out for a little bit. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of this stuff that's going on. So I've got up here the 1 and 5 minute setup on TradeStation. We'll go over to TradingView here in just a minute. But I just want to review, we had this big rally. Nasdaq's given up almost half of its gains. S&P is giving up about 1% roughly. We were up in the 40 handle. We almost hit some of those numbers I talked about last night. It's crazy. I don't know why it happens, but I'll mention a number like 40-20, 40-40, and it just goes there the next day. I was expecting 3 days. Of course, you should know that we're getting these literally 100-point ranges in the S&P almost every day now. So that's really 1 day, not 3 days. So you get these expectations of 3 days. But everything's kind of reversed to a large degree. We're looking at crude oil at 110. I mean, Biden and the gang has, I don't even know how to say this, canceled millions and millions of acres of possibility of getting oil out of the ground in the Gulf and other areas. It's just like they're just sabotaging this thing. They want everyone to buy electric cars. Just a crazy, crazy scenario we're seeing here. Never, listen, I've been around this planet almost 70 years. Never seen anything like it. I've been involved in these markets for over 40 years. I'm working on 43 years this September. And I've never seen stuff like this. I've seen a lot of craziness. And going back to, I started when Jimmy Carter had stagflation was around, Ron Reagan was elected. But I don't want to get too deep into that. I want to really get into the crux of what I want to do here today. I really, I'm just going to be upfront. I mean, this is sort of a sales pitch, what I'm going to do, but it's also showing the power. A bunch of you have already seen this and making money with these things. And, we've got a great offer. The link is here on this page. And it's just, you get into the live room and everything. We do live rooms Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. And anyway, but let's just talk a little bit more about what's going on here. Gold is just plummeting. I've been talking about gold as a problem. Bitcoin, I think it maybe is trying to put in a little low. I think these markets are so vulnerable to just massive selling and liquidation, especially the crypto. What's going on there is just a crazy scenario. This is going to affect crypto sentiment for a while. So this isn't a crypto show, but just mentioning that. Like I said, crude back at 110 here, up another 370. The trade I've been talking about is basically the XLE trade, but we did a hack on XLE, and that thing has just done amazing. And so where else we got? This is the other issue. I talked about the Japanese yen last night. Yen's down almost 1%. This is getting to be a really big problem. Even with the dollar backing up, the dollar was up pretty good, and now everything's pulling back here. So let's go ahead and let me show you what I really want to show you here, and let's talk about some of the indicators and all of that is what's going on. So I've got up here, I'll go full screen, and what we've got here is on the left-hand side is a 5-minute and a 1-minute chart. So I'm going to set up the indicators here, and then we're going to do real-time analysis as we trade here. I wish I could have got up earlier because we were getting some great things. So I'm going to go up here and just show you these are the indicators that we're offering out there, and I'm going to put on ppm 1, 2, and 3 on the 1 minute. I'm going to put what we call the webs on here, and I'll change the scaling here so you can see it. I'm not going to use the market grid for the moment, and I'm going to put the Fibonacci projection tool up here. And so I'm going to do the same thing over here on, actually I'm going to do one more thing, and I've got a script, and if I think about it, I'll put this script in, this is my 4 moving average script. I can post that maybe in the description, the actual code. It's not proprietary, just a way to, I use a 10, 21, 40, and then a 200 period. And this is on a 1 minute graph. So I'm just going to go over here and do the same thing that I just set up over here. And then I'm going to show you a couple other things that I think will be interesting. And then we'll start to talk about the how the market's setting up, and we'll go through market analysis real time. Like I said, I probably have about an hour to spend with you. So I just wanted to do this because, like I said, we were seeing some downward projections and they came into play. So let's go ahead and go back here, and I'm on the 5 minute now, and I'm going to put on the same thing. I'm going to put ppm 1, 2, and 3, and then I'm going to put on the WaveTech webs. And then I'm also going to put the fib projection tool, and I'm going to put this on twice, and I'll show you why here and explain. So you can change the values on this, and what you can change basically the look back period or the pattern that it's going to find. And we do this all the time where we've got a kind of a short-term and intermediate-term type target. Now, I want you to see that when we were way up here, this is what I wanted to show you. We were getting projections for 39.84, and we even exceeded that. And I'll try to go through and explain this stuff. Some of you have already seen it in the live room. Some of you have watched some of the videos, but this is a setup for trading both of the screens. Let me do one more thing here. I did not put it up here. Let's go and put that 4 moving average script up there, so we've got everything in play. And this will set up the whole pattern here, and I'll make this a little bigger so you can see these bars just a bit. Okay, I got to put one more on the fib ratio over here. I need to put one more on here, and then you'll see everything that I want you to see here. And then we'll get into following this market real time for a little while and talk about what's going on the screen and how to identify some of these situations. So let's go ahead and let's put the fib projection tool on again. So I put it on twice, and I'm going to set the settings to 4. So we want to look at a short-term pattern as well as the long-term pattern. And then I'm also going to put on here where we're going to show the pivots. And this is like so crazy powerful, and I didn't do it over here. Let me put it over here. And so we'll see this. And I'm going to draw in some stuff and just do real-time analysis, just like what we talk about when we're in the live room. If you notice, we came right down to the 200 period moving average on the 5 minute chart. And now we talk, I'm trying to make, I struggle with the scaling on this a bit, but the pattern that's coming up here, we look for crossing patterns on the webs. We've got a really nice rounded bottom setting up here. We don't have any Fibonacci projections on the upside yet on either of the markets right now. There's resistance right here around 39.90, but we printed down to the low of 75, and back, like I was saying, over here, we were getting the downward projections at this time down to the 84 level, right down to here. Actually, 91 was the projected low when we were trading around 40.20. We were starting to get these numbers to come out. The other thing that happened is the ppm 1 and 2 were giving sell signals up here. They were rolling over. We got confirmation over here on ppm 3, and boom, we got this big decline to come in here. So so this is real-time analysis. We just got some updates here over on the 1 minute, and we got some price projections on the upside right now of, we're looking right now at 30. Let me try to get the numbers here. We're looking at 89 right now on the upside. High target 1, 97, 03, and 06. There we go. I have trouble finding this on the scale. So what we're looking for then, that is the potential for the upside. And so what we do is we start to kind of look at what's going on here with the 5 minute and the 1 minute and start to break it down. So we watch the 5 minute updates. Right now we've got about 3.5 minutes to go to the next 5 minute update. We've got some webbing here, so we haven't quite got a bottom signal here, but I'm going to show you a pattern that is what the software is looking at and the algorithm is looking at, is looking at a pattern that I talk about all the time, where 1 and 3 is equal. This projections here for this trade, as long as we hold this pivot level over the next X amount of minutes, we should start to move up toward these objectives up here. And typically what we'll get is, once we get enough of a pattern set up on the 5 minute chart, we'll start to see a pivot, what we call a marked pivot on the low. This reversal bar in the 5 minute probably will be it. We got about 10 minutes to find that out. And then what we're looking for now is an upside. PPMs are turning up, trying to get positive here. They're not quite turned up yet, so we're still consolidating. So we don't have really a buy signal just as of yet, but we're starting to set this thing up. So we're looking at this pattern. And so right now expecting, like I said, 97.04. I've got to take some of these numbers off here real quick. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, this will be a bit cleaner now. So now we've got the targets of 97, 03, and 06 on the upside. And we're just about to fail here. So we're getting some selling. Like I said, we have not got a buy signal here. Setting up pattern. We have a downward slope 10 period moving average. Same thing in analysis that you folks watch on the YouTube channel every night. We're just watching, looking for a turnaround. We don't have positive PPMs over here in a 5. Nothing's telling us that this decline is over yet. Just trying to anticipate. We got a pattern, but we didn't get any type of confirmation buy signal. And that low looks like we just took it out, so that pattern has failed. We're looking at low of 81. We just did a low of 80.25. So we took out that low. We actually have some new Fibonacci projections on the downside. So what you're going to see when you're using this stuff, and this can be on any stock, it could be Tesla, it could be anything you want on here, but the bottom line is it's reacting real time to these patterns. And this is short-term stuff. We're just looking at some stuff here going on. Yeah, the webs are based upon linear regressions, and These are not proprietary at all. All they are is 20 linear regressions, and they set up patterns, and they're a pattern recognition tool. We use them to recognize. They're incredible for trading, day trading. And you can see here we're starting to get some lows, but we're getting a little traction back in. So we just watch this stuff real time. We did just get like some little minor retracements signaled on the 5-minute right up into the 10 period moving average. PPMs are trying to turn up here, you can see on, but we're still haven't taken out the second derivative or any of that. But the webs are based on really just a linear regression, and there's patterns that we set up. What I wanted to show you, we were getting on both the 1 minute and the 5-minute was what we call a rounding top, where the linear regression set, if you can see where my cursor is right now, this is right where the resistance was. You sell against that right shoulder, and we were actually getting at that same moment in time where we got that marked. I'm on the 5-minute on the left here. Let me draw this in real quick, because this is pretty important to understand. So right where this arrow came in here, this red arrow, was also where we were getting the crossover down here on the 1, and we were also getting crossovers right in here at the same time on the PPM 1, that's this one, PPM 2, both were giving those signals. The webs were rolling over, and then they get into a flow. It's almost like a river. We talk about something, this is what's called a rope, and the stronger the trend gets, the closer the linear regressions get to each other, and the webs get really close. And then when they start to bottom, we start to get this webbing kind of pattern, and what we look for is some kind of webbing, and then watching I'm drawing in a lot of stuff, let me clean this up. What we look for here is for the indicator start to cross up and tell us there's going to be a shift in this big downtrend, and we're going to get some kind of move to the upside. We don't have any objectives here yet, and the screen freezes when I do use this tool, by the way. And what we're getting on the 1 is just a zigzag formation. So we're waiting for the next low to be marked, and then maybe we get a new projection, maybe we get it. Well, we don't know which way the projection is going to come right now until this is happening. But look at the PPM 2 is really starting to signal. PPM 3, all we need, it may already have done it when I turn the screens back on, but this is turning up, which would tell us that we're probably going to get some new objectives. So let's take these lines off, unfreeze it. So we're still working this pattern. So PPM 2 is turned down now. PPM 1 still has not given that short-term signal. We did get a little signal here, but it failed almost immediately. But what we're seeing here is just kind of a zigzag on the 1, and potentially what we're setting up, I'm going to draw this again, just kind of keep this going. So we're going to do educational class. What we're looking for here now is the potential for this. I talk about this trade all the time, a 1, 2, 3 trade, and we're looking for it to come into these moving averages. And so if we can hold here, we get a marked low, we get a marked high and a marked low, then we probably get a swing objective. We start to get fib projections on the upside, and probably come back into maybe this consolidation level that we had earlier. But this is all going to tell us. So let's unfreeze the screen. Yeah, so this is starting to set up. The 1 minute is just setting up. Let's see if we can just set up some trades here. We'll do them real time. Yeah, I don't use any EMA. That's a waste of time. I don't like them. I've been using simple. WaveTech has something else to do with the pattern. So yeah, so if you continue to watch this, we're starting to get webbing here. There's 20 of these regression lines here. So you start, I know these patterns are a little hard to see. They're kind of light in the background, but when you start to get this webbing, this is a pretty good sign, but you use them in conjunction with the PPMs, and the once we start to get this to turn up, then we're just about PPM 1's trying to take out the first second derivative. Just did it, just got a 5-minute update. Looks like we're going to head for the 10-period moving average. When this happens over here on the right on PPM 1, that tells you we're going to test the 10-period moving average. So if you're a scalper, I mean, that's a signal. We should go directly to the 10. Now they're converging. The 10 is still negative, so it's coming down. But you can see the market's moving right to the 40 on the 1 minute. And we just got some upside objectives, and we already hit objective 1, 89.25, 93, and 95.50. These are the objectives for this little mini pattern here on a 1. So what we look for is this right shoulder set up. This is a rounded bottom. This was the point to be looking to play this on the long side. Now there's going to be, we're right at the 10. Look at this. Here we are at the 10 on the 5, and we're breaking out. We're trying to move to fib. We'll probably get a rejection here, I would suspect. Come back into the pattern just from the where the PPM 1 is still negative, and that downward slope is going to be enough to probably keep the markets. We're trading through it, but I still think we'll get maybe a rejection. But we're moving up toward this fib 3 projection of 95. There it is, already printed it. So once again, you got right here, you got the 1 minute PPM 1, PPM 2. All this stuff was telling you that this was about to happen. And we're just running here. This kind of volatility day, we're just making a run. So this was the pattern I was setting up for you folks. And this is what I try to teach everybody, is how to anticipate these 1-2s. When you start to see this rounding and webbing here, then you're setting up this. I joke, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. There are these 3 patterns everywhere to be found. Here's one here, right to those lows. They set up everywhere, and this is an extended. But for the most part, you can find these anywhere. Look at this, all the way to 98. So we extended up. Let me get rid of that. So here's where we're starting to get crossovers on the 1. So that was what you're doing when you're day trading. You're selling into that strength. You're buying down into this weakness in this rounded bottom, and as soon as you see the strength and you get it at or above those numbers, you're selling. So we went almost to the 40-period moving average. We're trying to come back actually to 21. We're almost back to the 10 here on a rejection. So now we're getting some crosses here. This ends up setting up probably a potential for a bull flag to form here. And I'm gonna keep drawing. I'm gonna just do an educational class here so you can get an idea what the power of these things are. Yeah, I don't use RSI. Don't use divergences. None of that stuff. Those are pretty retail. Anyway, I live in my own little world. I created this world a long time ago. Oversold, overbought, don't do it, never have for, I don't know, since early 80s. I learned that was just a bad game to play. So usually when I hear people talking about RSI and stuff, no offense, I'm not trying to offend anybody. People I'm sure know how to use it. I never found the use in it. I don't like any indicator that gets overbought and oversold. I want the PPMs that are on here right now measure pure output of momentum. And they tell you a lot about the probabilities. We studied this in detail for multiple years, and I've been using this since 1984. And I know everything about these, and this is what I'm trying to bring in, is that you have certain probabilities that occur with moving averages that are very, is somewhat, there's a word somewhat in the quant world, and somewhat recreatable. So that means there's predictability to it to a large degree. But these, on intraday trading, we're talking about, you know, we're talking about a 5-minute trade here. And just trading 5 contracts, you probably made, you know, $4 grand, $5 grand here, maybe, with this kind of volatility range that we're looking at. So we're getting these crosses over right now. We're looking at PPMs they're actually just slightly positive at the moment. So this 10-period moving average coming up here is going to be your support zone. We have some new price projections now. If you look over here, we're looking at, for right now, 495, 4,000 even, and 04. Those are the projections right now, but it looks to me that they're just going to fail. We're coming all the way back in again and probably coming right back into this pattern. But that was such a great setup. And if you notice, this is, let me draw in what just happened so you can see that the indicators are marking all this stuff out. So this is what I was talking about. We got kind of this 3 pattern here. There was a slight violation. We got this low here, and then projected into these Fibonacci projections here, and now we got support right in these moving averages. So they're starting to hold here. On this is the same scale on what it looks like on the 5. So this was the real clean setup on the 5-minute, rounding bottom with the webs turning up. Now there's still, I'm just drawing in a bunch of little arrows here because they're still setting up this little webbing, and whether that ends up to be, you know, a move up or down, we'll be able to determine that here as the patterns unfold. Let me unfreeze the screens here. So yeah, we're just continuing. This probably going to come back. The 200-period moving average on the 5 is going to be support, but we're starting to get a little webbing. Okay, so now we're starting to see turn-ups on where the webs are trying to turn up. So if we can trade above this ridge right here, it above 91, that should start to turn that up. If it doesn't, we won't get a turn up at all. We're saying right into moving average support, but the moving averages are flat, so there's absolutely no characteristics. Just got downside objectives also showing up here. So with the PPM2 just turning over here, what we're seeing is a move 39.84, 81 is actually being projected again. So we have this range bound projection, and this is a 1-minute graph. Okay, so this is all going to continue to happen. I'll do this for about another 15-20 minutes, and then we'll actually yeah, I mean, listen, I'm telling you, yeah, Christoph, if you watch my videos, I already done this. I have us at potentially wave 5 of 5 of 5 on a grand super cycle. It's on some of the videos. But yeah, so we're still setting up. Like I said, we've got moving average support here, and now we're looking for the webs are starting to turn up on the 1. Kind of an ugly, not a clean pattern here on the 5. So there's going to be some consolidation. I'm going to throw up here. I haven't shown you, but let's put that up here. Let me put it on the right screen. Let's put up the market grid. So now we got 1-minute market grid coming in. And this is also going to help us to define the areas. Let me get rid of something here. These labels get too cluttered up. So we're trading down on STX right now on a 1-minute graph. But these will help. We got look at what we also got. I didn't have this up here, so I'm just reviewing little by little. We got an RTX sell signal on that big burst on a 1-minute chart, and look what happened. This ends up into potential dragon head and I'm going to draw in another pattern. What I try to do in the live room, and we do this for hours at a time, where we're trying to recognize patterns. And so is that the pattern that's going to set up? Maybe, right? So you want to look at this. So what we'll see is we should be able to see it on this 5-minute chart. Maybe we're going to get maybe a zigzag. Maybe it's just nothing. These moving averages come and we roll into all the way back and we give up even more of this day that we've seen so far. We don't know. We're sitting here doing real-time analysis. So if you can see here, right now we're trading S3 on the 1, not quite RTX, but the market grid even works on a 1 minute. Look over here, this little rally, RTX sell signal, boom, right down. So these work on no matter what the scale, and I show you folks this on the daily. So this is a real time. The grid, not the grid, but the grid is trying to turn up here. So, and we're getting a bit of a reversal, but we've just got webbing here. There's a lot of resistance. We've got an upward projection that I was talking about earlier at 9. Let's see here. Let me get the right numbers. Yeah, we're looking at, we just traded RTX here. That's one of my biggest complaints about TradingView is just finding the values. And I'm so used to a TradeStation, I've got everything right where I can see it. But we went right to, look at that, right up to RTX and got rejected off of there. This 1 minute graph. So you can start to get a feel for how this pattern sets up. So I'm going to draw in a secondary pattern that we should be looking at as well. So we looked at the bullish pattern, but what about if this is the case where we get a marked low, we get a green arrow here, and then we get this pattern, and we go down, retest the lows, or make a new low off of this pattern. So this would be 1 and 3. This is your retracement. We got a little rejection, and I'll bring this off so we can just take a look at this again. Don't know which way it's going to go. What we're looking for is some lead. PPM 3 is actually starting to look pretty good, which is this green line coming up in here. So everything is, we just got a potential buy signal on the 5 minute. PPM 1 just broke out, and we still have downward pressure coming in 21. So that value is going to be an issue here. The 21 average, let me just get some of these numbers so I can find them. 21, gosh, I got so much stuff up here, I can't find the values at the moment. I'll just rough it out. 4,001.50. So it looks like we just took out the high of the previous 5 minutes. We've got about 1.5 minutes to go for this next update. And so this red dotted line up here, which is at 0855, that is what we call a pivot. When this pivot comes up, this is the one that will swing this market. If we take out 08, we're probably going to run up and retest the highs of the session. And so we're starting to see, look, we just got another, I've got to change the scale a little bit. We got some more upward projections just now. And this is coming from the 8 handle, I believe, the 8x8. So 08, 17, 22 is being projected off the 1 minute chart right now. PPMs are starting to turn up. Everything's turning up. 5 minutes given a buy. We're probably going to test this 0175. Should be some little bit of resistance at that level. So we'll just continue to watch this for a few minutes, but we are starting to get some of these upward projections here, right? And that's coming, So what I set up here is that we're looking at two different patterns, and I would confuse you just coming into this randomly, coming in and watching this, what is going on with the different pivots. I've got the what I call the 4 pivot. We have an 8 that we use as well, and the 8 will recognize larger patterns. These upward objectives are the larger pattern, which is recognizing that bigger swing that I was just showing you. So it looks like it wants to go, but we've got some barriers to get through. And really what we use here is the 5-minute is going to be our primary chart we're going to pay attention to here. So we're looking at the 5-minute average right now is I just can't even find these values. There's so much crud on here. I'm sorry. This is what I have trouble with this this platform. So 4,050 is the number. So we're getting rejection. We're probably coming back to the 10. PPM1 is turning up. So there's more work to do in here to set up a larger pattern. And so you have to be patient, but we're looking at this pattern setting up. We're seeing the 1 minute pull back in here, still hanging around these moving averages. It's on to 21. I know I got a lot of stuff in here. I've got a trained eye to look at it. But what we're looking at here is just the watching the market in slow motion and slowing it down and focusing in on these increments. So right now we just got a new 5-minute update about a minute ago. I'll pay a little more attention. So the next 5-minute update, probably in the next 2, we're going to go another 10 minutes doing this, and then maybe we'll go and look at some indicators. Yeah, so we're starting to get a little pressure. We're trading on to 20. We just got the market grid turning down a little bit. If you notice, for the most part, this defines the ranges, just like you see on a daily. I mean, I could throw this up on a 5-minute as well. Let's do that for fun. And let's just put market grid over on the 5. So you're going to see the same type of pattern here. And STX is coming in right about the right here, about 83 handle on this. So we're getting a little reversal here on the 1. Maybe we can get the grid to turn back up. These upward projections up here are still valid as long as we stay above this low right here, where this marked low is, where we see these arrows. The 5-minute grid has turned up pretty good, and so you start to get a feel for how the market's trading. We still got a lot of work. There's nothing here substantial from this 1-minute chart, so I'm hoping that we get like a setup here that would give us some insight in how this market's going to trade. Yeah, Kelvin, if you're managing a portfolio, is different. Here we are trading STX on the 1. It's a little bit different. This is really intraday trading. You can do the same analysis, only you're going to look at bars and weeks, and that's pretty much what I do every night on the YouTube channel. So we just bounced off of STX, but if you look at the webs here, there's nothing. I mean, it figures that we come into a period where volatility would just die just because I'm live here. It's classic. But, so we still have upward projections. We've got them both sides, and we're just waiting for this pattern to unfold a little bit. I'm using these fat bars so you can see them. And the bars are much better, in my opinion, than using candles, because you want to see very well defined where you're trading within the grid. And that's why I'm a classic just open, high, low, close bar. It just makes it a lot easier to see within the context of the pattern that's going on. I mean, if I flip this over to candles, you don't get the same feel. And I think that's important from the type of analysis that I'm doing. So now you look at, this is potentially what's going on here right now. I have all these strange names for these patterns. This is starting to form what I call a caterpillar, where we're just going sideways in the pattern, and we're not getting any, you folks have heard me use this term called VIG. We're not getting any VIG or any real momentum here on the short term, but the 5 minutes still starting to get some traction here, and I think we're going to see a pretty good squeeze coming in here. 5 minutes starting to move right now, and we should see, we're going to come up to this 21 period moving average. It's at 99 now. It keeps declining. It was at 01. Now it's at 99. So that's going to be your resistance point. We'll see where right now, we just got an update on the 5. Now you see the ones trading RTX. These upward projections are still valid. The 1 minute grid just turned up on the update here. So you're starting to see PPM starting to come alive. PPM 1 is really growing strength. If we get through PPM 2 to turn up, then we're going to see a rotation, what I call it, where the market's going to rotate and start to challenge probably up to 40.10. And from that, and that'll put us back in this congestion range that we traded at earlier. So here we are almost STX 5 right now. The 1 minute is still trying to expand. Looks pretty good to me. You know, if this rounded bottom here was the place to buy and play it, here we are continuing to get a bit of a bid going here. So this probably explosive up to this pivot up here, which is 0850, and then the 40 period moving average at 1088. So we'll call it 11. So we're trading RTX on the 5. We still have like 3 minutes to go for this 5 minute update. But if you see the 1, I know that there's a lot of dots here, but we just got an updated version. We got a high target of 0475 now coming in on the 1. And we're trading right now at 325. So, you know, we moved up. If you go back to where we started to see this thing move, we're starting to see the 5 minute move up toward the pivot. We're getting through the grid here. Here we go, right up to the pivot. Here's 0850. So that pattern I was talking about is unfolding here, and now we're getting almost to this 0850 is that first fib projection line, and we also have a 200 period moving average on the 1 coming in, and we see a lot of rejections intraday. You'll notice that the 200 is at 410, and the 40 on the 5 minute is 410.75. And this, I tell a lot of folks, if you're in the live trading room, you're getting a dose of this stuff, is that what you're really seeing here is that the correlation between a 1 and 5. So we're taking the 5 minute bar, breaking it down in 5 segments, and dissecting it on a shorter term level to determine when these things are going to move. So it was but the 5 minute was the leader here. Now we got all of the webs turning up, all the regressions are turning up. We're starting to get some momentum. We got PPM 1 up at 0.7. PPM 2, here's what we were waiting for, is getting a crossover. So I would suspect, folks, that we're going to probably, if we can get above this 40 period moving average, which is also turning up now, everything's flattening out, we're probably going to see a move back up into probably 20, back into this range, 24, 28, an ultimate probably and maybe possibility of printing a new high on the session. So right now the projections up here are for 17 and 22 off of the 1 minute projection. We're trading right at basically at the 200, but we see a lot of rejection. So I would suspect that this will be, okay, we just got another updated pattern. We probably get rejected right off of this 200 here. You see the 5 minute just actually got an RTX sell signal on the 5 minute. So let's see what unfolds here. If we were looking at this 1-2 pattern, this is what I talk a lot about, is anticipating this pattern. And we just keep going through this stuff over and over on a lot of days. And we'll go into some of the longer trades. But yeah, so we're getting, look at this, right? A little rejection right off of this 200 period moving average on the 1 minute. This happens all the time. You see the PPMs, we just got a 5 minute update. PPMs rolled over a little bit. So we'll probably try to come back into pattern. We're right at that pivot, 08. See what sets up here. PPMs on the 1 minute still looking fairly good. Grid turned down a little bit on the 1. So what time we getting to be? Yeah, I got about 15 more minutes probably, folks. Yeah, Calvin, it's probably true on the with the Singapore markets. So we're still trading up. We rebounded back up toward that 200. We just got another 1 minute update. Looks like we might be trying to form a little rounded top on the 1 minute. And if you notice over on the 5, so we're constantly correlating this. We're trading right into that 40 period moving average here. And we're getting a little rejection off of that. We're still negative on the PPM 3, which is tracking this. So we still have a little downward push. Maybe we come back towards the 4,000 even 98 level. We'll see what sets up here. PPMs are rolling a little bit on the 1. We're starting to getting a little bit of interesting formation here. See if the grid turns down, but we're holding right at this 200. Now I have an indicator that you can put up there. It's a WaveTech 200, which would tell you what's going on with the PPMs on the 200. I don't use that often. You can see a downward slope. I do use it, but not on the super short-term stuff. So just hovering here, trying to see what's going to happen. If we trade down to this 10 period moving average right now is at, what is this? I'm just trying to find this number. Ten period is at 0360. So we're still trading up here at 0825, just hovering. We're trading right on that 200. PPM's just turned back up on this update. So maybe we're going to try to make a run for this Fib 2 target, which is 17. Yeah, we just got another update. These things come at you quick here, folks. You have to really stay. We just got a downward projection on the 1 minute. Just came in just now for a move down to the minimum's 4,000, 96, 94, and then you get these moving averages. So we have a 10 period moving average that's up pretty good. That should supply support. but we're still hovering right at this 200. Maybe we'll finally get an interesting setup. We're getting webbing on this pattern here, and what's setting up is a potential rounded top here. So let me just bring this up here real quick. Is what will happen is these linear regressions will start to kind of roll over, and the market tends to come down. Maybe we come down into these objectives, moving averages round out, everything kind of flattens out, and then we set up maybe a larger pattern, another 1, 2, 3, or we come in too deep and we come all the way down here, and maybe we set up just another pattern. So what I try to do is try to get everybody to focus on what the potential of the, let me just get rid of this. Okay, so it's still, we're above the 200 now. So it's still hovering here. So that 10 period moving average is really the support on the one, right on the 1 minute. So we're continuing, we're right at the 40. So we're right at this breakout point, trying to make a decision. PPMs on the 5 minute are guiding us higher, I believe. So if we're in a trade here, we're going to continue to stay long. Here we go, trading 13 handle, just traded 13. Yeah, we got about 1 bar sideways after the RTX sell signal. Really didn't do much. Thought we might come back in a little bit more. Still moving higher. PPMs are expanding on the 5 minute. This I talk about this a lot of times, so this would be analogous to when I'm talking about that the weekly chart is the dominant trend. Right now the dominant trend is on this 5 minute, and this chart here is what's pushing this market higher. And the fact that there's projections here and other elements doesn't mean it can't continue to go higher. These are just guidelines that when you're trading, you can trade off of. So still working. Maybe we're coming back to the backside of this 200 on the 1. The 40 is still actually it's completely flat now on the 5 minutes. So we'll just continue to watch this thing. Yeah, so this is kind of what we're doing. This is kind of a live room, only I actually will trade real time. So money's where your mouth is. So, but yeah, so, but this is, I mean, if you're trading intraday, and I've talked about this on the live stream here. Let me just come on screen for a second. When you're trading intraday, this is intense. I wasn't on screen because I get into the market. You know, I'd spent a lot of years in trading floors, and when I'm watching this stuff, I get really intense. I talk about it all the time. About 3 hours a day of intensity. I don't care how old you are. I'm almost 70. It's always been about my limit, the focus that it takes to do this. And I'm trying to talk you through what I'm seeing, what I'm thinking, and then try to set up these patterns. Because once you start to see these patterns, somebody emailed me the other day and said even without the webs now, they're starting to see the patterns. And it's sort of, I am an incredibly visual person. Obviously, I do charts. I've done them for a lot of years. I used to do them by hand. In 1979, we didn't have computers to draw them. So we did get a little rejection. We're back under the 40 here. PPMs rolled over. Look at what's happening here. So we're stalling right at these higher end, at these levels, these resistance points. So the next pattern that sets up will kind of start to set that in that last hour, that last half hour, and you can really set up some good patterns. But the intensity it takes to do this is a lot if you're going to be a real day trader. And sometimes I'll demonstrate what it's like to be what I call a digital floor trader. And you know, a lot of my peers never made the transition to the digital world, and I've been doing these things for so long. It's second nature for me to do this. But what happens, and I've already, it's really cool in the live room, somebody will go, hey, there's a rope, there's a diamond bottom, and then talk about, you know, there'll be comments going on in the room that I know I'm making an impact on folks and how they're trading and what they're seeing, so you can start to really identify this stuff. So we just got a bounce on the one, PPM's turned up, but we're still forming a potential rounded top on that 1 minute chart. So it might have bounced up, and we're about to get maybe an RTX sell signal here. We'll see. I suspect that the grid will turn up here in just a minute. But all of this stuff that we're doing, this all applies to any length of chart. It doesn't matter whether it's a intraday, this 5 and 1. But this is what I'm doing on the YouTube channel. This is what I do with my analysis. I know Calvin's talking about he's using WaveTech. WaveTech does basically a lot of this for you. You don't have to think. It has already got set up where it's giving you the buy signals and the sell signals, and you can make things, maybe interact with them a little bit and maybe make them better. Most of the time you make them worse trying to interact, and you just kind of when you talk about our products of portfolio management, it's a whole different level. So I'm going to do some videos like this, just some live streams. Live streams have become a very easy way for me to present information. The produced videos are way better and better focused and all that for the most part. I've gotten better at the live streaming, but it just takes so much time. I mean, yeah. So anyway, we're looking here. We got a little bit of a dip, and now we're getting a surge. Here we are at 16. So we're right at almost RTX on the 5. Let me go back full screen here. Yeah, so I'm going to show you another indicator here in a minute. So we've just focused on these. So I'm going to put something on it. Let's see. Let's put it on this chart here. If you notice, by the way, we did get a marked low down here in this pattern. So here, all of a sudden, here we're starting to trade up. We're getting a little expansion in the prices here a bit, and what I'm going to put on here is I'm going to put on the pattern finder tool. And so if you're doing, we got a lot of crud on here. So I think what I'll do is this. I'm going to set up a whole brand new. I'm going to do a new layout real quick here, folks. So let me get rid of this volume. So we've got up here, this is 5 minutes. So I'm going to just put one thing on here for a moment so you can see this indicator. So if you're doing swing trades, this is like a way cool tool to have. If we look here, we can go to the pattern finder, and this is going to mark out all these swings for you, and so you can see exactly where they are. But you can change. You can do something pretty unique with this, is that you can go in and change the input. And so right now that I've changed it to looking for just the patterns here. So these help you to identify the 1, 2, 3 swings and all of that stuff. So if you're looking at this, like here's a classic pattern that I talk about a lot, and I've been talking about it with you folks just now, is here's one of those 1, 2, 3 swings. If I put the price projection tool, we're going to get Fibonacci's up in projections this range. Same thing here, downward swing. But you just start seeing this. This is like a huge extended rally. This is a 5-minute S&P. Let's take this drawing tool off, and let's just flip this to a daily. So you start to see all of the patterns that are setting up even on the daily charts and all that stuff. So you can really build this out. You can put the price projections on any chart. We can make this. This is Tesla. Doesn't matter what it is. You can put this up and utilize all of these price projections and all of this. Let's just for fun, let's throw in so this is an 8. I need to change this to a 4. So this is Tesla. Let me just move this scale so we can see this a little bit. The price objective 1 on Tesla, and this is no indicators other than this one. The price objective was 684. The low was 680. So that came in out of this little pattern here, and we got the reversal off of there. We also got, just looking at how this is setting up. This is on a daily. Go to weekly. Elon wouldn't want to look at this chart. Downward projections on this are for a move 644, 450, 330. I don't think these are realistic, but you can do the same analysis. We can go up here and just put the indicators on, put in ppm 1, 2, and 3, and of course, I don't know if you're a TradingView, you can change all this, so you can change the real estate around so you get a better view here of everything. But yeah, but you can start to build out, put in the indicators, all this stuff. It's very powerful from that standpoint. You can see we actually got a rebound right here. Let me draw this in so you see it. So off of this decline right here, that reversal low, that number there, forgot to get the numbers off of there. Let's see, that was 672. And then you get this rally right into, look at this, right into this Fibonacci range here. We actually, looks like right here, hit right into that Fib 2. So we went from a downward Fib 2 to an upward Fib 2 in this pattern. So let's take this off so we can get those numbers. So the Fibonacci was 714, the low was 700 even. On the upside, the Fibonacci was 1144 and the high was 1152. So you're getting, you got a reversal, you got a right shoulder set up, you got everything hanging in here and this tool was telling you exactly what's going on, and it's just keeping it reasonably simple here. Yeah, it would be kind of interesting as well. Yeah, I think there's a lot of limitations. I can tell you, folks, we are looking at rebuilding our platform substantially with WaveTech and combining WaveTech indicators, everything into one thing. You go into platform and you just buy what you need, and you have all kinds of cool dashboards and stuff. So there's a bit of an effort going on right now. I can't it's really being researched right now. But I would love to be able to just put all this in one platform. You come here and also have trade routing and some other things. That's my dream, and to actually be able to route trades and all that. Basically, that's what TradingView. And I'm not sure, to be honest with you, that you want to compete with a TradingView of the world where they got 20 million users. But what we do is much different. It's very focused, not trying to be a full world of indicators. I don't want to be another platform. Everything that I've done is focused on my life's work, and I've been using all of these indicators. Everything you see, the price projection tool, all of that stuff, pretty much everything you see. The PPMs are circa 1984, and on all the other stuff, for the most part, is around 90, 91 when those were developed. I had a product out called Market Mind in 1992, and it was operating inside of TradeStation. I was the very first solution provider at TradeStation. It was actually Omega Research at the time in 1992, and we were the first ones to come up with logic that would run within TradeStation. I still use TradeStation. It's my preferred platform, but they closed down their app store, and distributing apps is no longer possible there, and we have to build another platform to do that. So it's just kind of frustrating. I like I said, I don't really want to try to rebuild a charting platform. So folks could use RSI and MSAD and all the retail stuff that's out there, I call it amateur stuff that's out there. I don't really do that. I went into my own little world here, and I brought you folks in thanks to YouTube and the pandemic, I guess, is how I met a lot of retail folks. And then here, now TradingView has given me the ability to at least distribute some of the stuff. We can't even run our models, and it doesn't have the ability to run our models. There's just no way. It's not sophisticated enough. It's pretty rudimentary, TradingView is. But we did do like these algos to find these patterns are pretty unique. And in our indicators, from what we do is we have the price projection tool. You have two of the tools right now. The price projection tool that's on the screen is where the dots are. The pattern finder is the primary logic that drives that, and we also have a cycle finder that looks for Fibonacci cycle clusters. And so all three of those indicators work off the basic logic, which is recognizing the pattern, and then from the pattern projecting out Fibonacci cycles and looking for clusters. And so we were able to do a lot of that stuff. There's a fair amount of code in there to make it work. And some of the indicators, the cycle finder is not exactly like what we have in TradeStation. We couldn't get the logic to work. I don't know if it was our inability or lack of knowledge to be able to program it or not, or what it was, but we could not do that. And so yeah, I'm just looking here. We're trading 40.23 on the S&P. So, but I the goal of this video today was really to introduce you a little bit more. I talk about them every night, but I just kind of wanted to do this, look at some inside analysis, set up some thinking around this environment, and and I know everybody's got their own thing. That's fine. I have put in a lot of years developing thought process and things that I do, and I'm not R.N. Elliott. I'm not that guy, but I have identified an awful lot of things, and I tell everybody, every new trader, this is that really what you need to be able to do is to figure out how to find 2 or 3 things that work. And you hear trade your plans. You have to have a trading plan, and for the most part, you'll probably pick up a lot of things from hanging out with me, but for the most part, there's just a lot of things you got to figure out on your own. And once you get that, like, I don't leave my wingman. That's a Top Gun joke. I guess it's fairly good since the new Top Gun's coming out here in a couple of weeks. But the bottom line is, I stick with what I know. That's what I do every day. I don't deviate. I never look at RSI or any other indicator than what you see me use. I don't look at anything else. I don't need to look at anything else. I'm not in the discovery phase, which most of you probably are in, trying to figure things out, right? And you can just run. There's so much stuff out there, and YouTube channels and everything. I feel fortunate that we didn't have all this stuff. And in fact, we had to develop our own. I mean, it just didn't exist much. I won't go bore you with the history of how it got there, but we just continued to research and validate and do all this stuff. From 1984 through 86 is when we did that. It was the root of all of the analysis and things we did, a combination of moving averages, Elliott wave, these PPMs, which are measuring probability factors around moving averages. And I did this with a former professor at University of Michigan that ended up to be a client of mine, and he and I just hooked up, and we did a lot of work for years, and we did it in laboratory style. He was a PhD in physics, so we had a lot of math. We had a lot of things that we looked at, and that's how I got here. Okay, and it's led through my entire career. It is 2022. We started doing this in 1984. So decades of my life and my career, hedge funds, institutional desk, no matter where I've been, my own analysis and research departments that I worked in, everything's been based on this. So it's a pleasure for me, folks, for you folks to have an opportunity to do that. I'm working on a master class. We're also talking about doing some sort of an event where we all go and hang out with each other and just dig in for a couple days on this stuff and just make it super intense. I'm trying to figure out exactly, if we did that, what we would do and how we would do it, and a location where that would happen. I would like to see something like that happen this fall, but it's got to get planned pretty quick. So if we were going to come, all of you could make your plans and along the same with me. But the bottom line is, folks, I appreciate so much of the community that we built. We got 31 subscribers. I think we should have 131,000 subscribers on YouTube, but we've got 31,000, and that's not bad. But we've been stuck in the same place for like a year. I don't know if it just seems odd, the exposure that we get. But I'm doing some solid work here. You folks should join us. And like I said, I kind of look at it. You're getting a 50% sale. You can get the indicators, and they're $297, and our live room is $297 a month. So you basically get a month with the indicators. So you're getting a 50% discount. You don't have to continue with the live room, but you get the indicators forever and ever. And that's really what it's all about for me. So let's go back. We'll swing through the markets, because I've actually I needed to probably be out here about 10 minutes ago. So we'll go back and just take a look at what's going on here. I was talking about markets moving up in this pattern, and we've done that. We're right up to that 23-24 level. And I'm just looking at some of your comments. Yeah, listen, man, folks, I'm serious. I'm very sincere. I think you people know that. And I pour my heart and soul into my work, and I do this because I enjoy it. And I have to tell you, all the retail folks and institutional, I know they're both on here right now, and all of you folks, it's like an amazing, it's just amazing to be able to work with everybody and do what I do. And a lot of you embraced WaveTech and Portfolio Expert, which is insane if you're running your own 401k or your own money. And I talked to someone that signed up 2 years ago on Portfolio Expert, and they said not only did it make me a lot of money when the markets were going up, it's saving me a lot of money when they're going down. And that is the whole process. So let's get into the markets just for a minute, and then I'll close out, come back, and let's kind of look at the market here. So let me change the scaling just a little bit on the 5. So we're just getting this nice solid move up here back into 2024. I was talking about this a bit ago, that I thought we would probably get up to toward the highs. 36 looks like the let's see here. Yeah, so we're starting a couple things here. I'm going to change the scale because I want you to see. And see, I had the scale down, and we didn't see this earlier. This is interesting because I just hate the scaling on this platform. But look at what was laying above here. This is price projections off a 5-minute chart. When we were looking at that, and the PPMs are starting to turn up about 1 bar, 2 bars after we started getting buy signals for this 5 to move up, we're getting price projections right now for 40.50, 40.80, 40.99 off a 5-minute graph. It's probably not very realistic that we get there, but this pattern that's being recognized as the volatility is so high that it's projecting out this pattern. So, but look at the PPMs after they started to turn. We finally got PPM 2 to break out over here. That was the acceleration in this trend. Now what we're seeing, the cyan line down here, let me just get the green line right here is the 40 period. We got above that 40.11, and if you look down at the very bottom on PPM 3, it's positive, but it's not positive. It's flat at the moment. It's at 0.00. And let me just do something real quick here. Yeah, it's slightly negative right now, but we're still seeing the acceleration in PPM 1 and 2, and I would suspect we're probably going to go out here in the next half hour pretty strong, maybe make a new high on the session. And I think if we look back on what's happened over the last day or so, when we look back, I had thrown out there the 38.60 level. We printed 38.58 last night, yesterday, and just got this big reversal, and it's just following through today. I mean, we're at 4,000 now, so at 36 we were 20 handles, so from 200-point move. And I know that isn't that big a deal, but it is a big deal. And I don't think there's a significant bottom yet. I'm anxious to see our database run here in a few hours and see what all that's about and see what sets up. So anyway, folks, as always, thanks for everything. I'm glad that I'm glad that you folks are all here. I'm just looking at a couple of comments here. Yeah, I've been watching Dark Shadows from the 60s. It's pretty funny. Call me Barnabas. Listen, that's why I'm doing this stuff, folks. I didn't want to do a subscription on these indicators. I just wanted to put them out there for you to have them, as long as TradingView's around anyway. And I didn't want I just didn't want to have some kind of subscription. I wanted them out there. I can live through the indicators and long term, and that's why learning this stuff would be really good. I'm trying to work with some people to put like a really serious class together. I'm the mad scientist. I can talk about this shit forever, but when it comes to putting it in class format and doing all that, that's not my strong suit. I'm a trader and I don't know how to do that. So I'm trying to find maybe one of you, I'll recruit one of you. If you think you have those skills or you've done a project that you built, educational platform, why didn't I think of this before? You know, reach out, info@Kendall Report, tell me who you are and see if we can work on something. That's one of the biggest issues that I have in getting like some super quality stuff out, is just trying to get someone together that can do that. So I'm just final close here. Just I'm bringing down the scale. So we actually have 36, 43, 48 projection even on a 1 minute chart right now. So everything's starting to point that we're going to print into the highs on the close this last 30 minutes. Whether we do or not, it looks like to me this 5 minute chart's pretty solid. We'll probably stay above 40.26. Let me get the right number here. 40.0708 is going to be your probably your floor no matter what happens coming in the close. But it looks like they're trying to climb. We've got a rope going on the 1 minute, which is bullish. We're basically forming a rope on the 5, and we got price objectives on the upside right now, just setting you guys up for the close. 53 on the 5, 36, 43, 48 upward objective on the 1 minute chart. So looks like they want to do a new high and print this thing up. That, you know, that little dip down to that 80, 84 or whatever it was, that was your opportunity, and we were able to see that form right on a 5 minute chart. And I'm telling you, we do these trades all the time in the live room. Maybe somebody made a good trade or so off of what I did today, just showing you what's going on here. But this is it's fun stuff. I love it. Thanks. Trying to get signed off. I'm stuck in a loop. So anyway, folks, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you Sunday night, usual video time. Thanks a lot. Hey, Christoph, good for you. I'm in the same camp with you. Yeah, click that like button. Appreciate it, Kelvin. I know you've been a good client. Appreciate it. There must be an open cattle gate somewhere in Montana you can get across. You have to go to Alberta, I guess. Yeah, look, we're selling off here, folks. You can't see it, but I'm sure you're going. I'm out of here. See you Sunday night.